In a quiet corner of a small African village, a woman named Amma sits outside her crumbling mud house. The roof leaks when it rains, the walls are cracked, and the floor is bare. Yet, she keeps it clean, as if holding on to dignity was her only weapon against despair. Amma is a widow, her husband taken by a mining accident 2 years ago. Since that day, she has carried the weight of survival alone, for herself and for her 2 young children, Kofi and Isi. Life hasn't been kind. The rains have failed, food prices have soared, and kindness in the village has become rare, like water in a dry riverbed. Scene 2. Morning routine of struggle. Each dawn, before the sun rises, Amma whispers a prayer over a small pot of water. Her voice trembles but carries strength. Lord, give me hands that don't grow tired, and a heart that doesn't give up. Then she lifts her worn basket filled with roasted corn and vegetables, her only way to earn a few coins. The road to the market is long and rough. She walks barefoot, dust clinging to her ankles, sweat forming on her brow. By the time she reaches the crowded market, her legs ache. The air smells of charcoal, fried dough, and poverty. Women shout to sell their goods. Children run between stalls, and men bargain loudly over fish. Amma sets her basket on a small wooden crate and begins her day, hopeful, as always, that today might be different. But by noon, no one buys from her. Her corn grows cold. Her vegetables wilt in the heat. Scene 3. Whispers of cruelty from across the market. She hears them, the whispers that sting worse than hunger. That's Amma, the unlucky widow. Everything she touches dies. Her husband, her crops, even her luck. Cursed by fate. Amma keeps her head down, pretending not to hear, but inside her heart twists. She is not cursed, only tired. Still, she smiles at anyone who meets her eyes. By evening, she manages to sell just enough to buy a handful of cassava flour and 2 small fish. It isn't much, but it's something. As she walks home, her feet drag through the dust, the setting sun painting her shadow long and lonely. Scene 4. The empty pot. That night, Amma lights a small fire outside her hut. Her children sit nearby, their eyes wide with hunger and hope. She places the fish and flour in a pot and stirs slowly, the smell of thin soup filling the air. The fire crackles softly, echoing against the silence of the night. When the food is ready, she divides it, just enough for the children. Kofi eats fast. Essie chews slowly, trying to make each bite last longer. Amma watches them quietly, forcing a smile. Her stomach twists, but she stays silent. When the children finish, they look at her and ask softly, "Mama, aren't you going to eat?" She shakes her head gently. "I've already eaten," she lies, though her stomach growls. The children curl up together on their mat, drifting to sleep as the fire fades. Scene 5. The Mother's Prayer. Amma sits alone beside the dying embers. Her eyes glisten with tears she refuses to shed. The stars above seem cold and distant, watching her from a world where hunger does not exist. She folds her hands, whispering under her breath, "God, don't let my kindness die in this hunger. Don't let my children forget the taste of hope." Her voice cracks on the last word. A single tear rolls down her cheek, falling into the dirt beside the fire, like a silent offering. Scene 6. The wind before change. The night passes slowly, heavy with silence. When dawn breaks, the village feels different, quieter than usual. The air carries a strange stillness, as if holding its breath. Birds that usually chirp at sunrise are nowhere to be heard. Even the market, visible from afar, looks unusually calm. Amma gathers her basket again. Her body feels weak, but something in her heart urges her to go. She doesn't know it yet, but this day will change everything. Scene closing, foreshadowing the turning point. As she steps onto the dusty path, a soft breeze brushes past her face. Gentle, almost intentional. She pauses, feeling something stir inside her. A quiet voice she cannot explain. It whispers in her heart. Kindness is never forgotten. Amma looks toward the market in the distance, unaware that fate is already waiting for her. Disguised as a stranger in torn clothes, camera fades to black. Sound of footsteps fading. Hint of suspenseful music rising. Morning sunlight spills across the dusty streets. The market slowly comes alive, traders shouting, goats bleating, and smoke rising from cooking fires. Amma reaches her small wooden stall, her tired feet coated in dust. Her woven basket holds a few roasted corn cobs and a small bowl of vegetable stew. It's all she could afford to make. She sets everything neatly on the table, just as she always does. The smell of roasted corn fills the air, drawing a few curious glances. But inside, Amma's heart feels heavy. The memory of her children's hungry eyes from the night before still burns in her chest. She forces a smile as the first customer walks past, only to stop, sniff, and then walk away without buying anything. Another customer does the same. She sighs quietly. "Not today again," she murmurs. Still, she straightens her back and waits, her hope thin but alive. Ken 2, the old man's arrival. The morning heat begins to rise. The sound of haggling fills the air, laughter mixing with the clatter of pots. Then, from the corner of the street, a frail old man appears. His clothes are torn, his beard untrimmed, and his steps slow, almost trembling. People glance at him, but quickly look away. "Ah, not him again," one trader mutters. "Always begging, never working," says another. The old man's eyes are tired, but kind. He moves from stall to stall, whispering, "Please, just a little food, anything." Everyone turns him away. When he finally reaches Amma's stall, he pauses and looks at her gently. His voice shakes. "My daughter, please, I have not eaten in 2 days. The sun burns and my legs grow weak. Do you have something to share?" Amma freezes. Her eyes drop to the bowl of stew, her only hope for the day. Her mind races. If she gives it to him, her children will go hungry again. If she keeps it, she can sell it, buy food, and maybe even a handful of flour. Her stomach tightens. Her throat feels dry. The air around her grows silent, though the market is still bustling. Scene 3. The battle within. Amma looks into the old man's face. His hands tremble slightly, his eyes full of exhaustion and humility. She glances at her stew again. The smell of it reminds her of home, of warmth, of the only security she has left. A small crowd begins to notice what's happening. "Don't waste your food on him," says a woman from a nearby stall. "He's lazy. He'll only beg again tomorrow," says another. Amma's heart pounds. Her mind whispers, "You can't afford to help." But her soul whispers back, "You can't afford to ignore." She remembers her husband's voice, soft and kind. "Amma, what we give away from the heart never truly leaves us." Her eyes blur with tears. Scene 4. The defining moment. Slowly, Amma picks up the bowl of stew. The old man watches silently, unsure of what she will do. Her hands tremble as she holds it out toward him. "Here," she says softly. "It's not much, but it's all I have." The old man's eyes widen. His lips tremble as he reaches out to take the bowl. He holds it carefully, as though it were gold. For a moment, he doesn't speak. He just stares at her, eyes glistening. Then, in a low voice, he says, "May your kindness be remembered beyond this day." Amma feels her heart tighten. She nods gently, unable to speak. He sits beside her stall and eats slowly, blessing each bite under his breath. When he finishes, he wipes his hands and stands. "Thank you, my daughter," he says softly. "You have given me more than food." He turns and walks away, step by step, down the dusty path, until his shadow disappears into the bright sunlight. Scene 5. The market's reactions. The crowd murmurs as he leaves. "Foolish woman," one trader says. "You'll regret it tonight." "Who feeds a beggar with their only meal?" Another scoffs. Amma says nothing. She simply sits, her empty bowl beside her. For the first time, she feels both light and heavy. Light in her heart, heavy in her stomach. The stew is gone, and with it, her only chance to earn anything that day. But something inside her, something small and quiet, feels right. As the sun sets, the last traders pack up their goods. Amma lifts her basket, now nearly empty, and begins the long walk home. Scene 6. The walk home. The road back to her hut is long and silent. Dust rises with each step, and the orange glow of the evening sun paints her figure in soft light. She thinks about her children, how she will face them, how she will explain that there is no food tonight. Yet, she feels no regret, only a strange peace. She looks up at the sky and whispers, "Lord, I don't understand your ways, but I trust you see." The wind blows gently through the trees, as if in answer. Scene 7. Symbol of sacrifice. As Amma nears her home, she passes a small pond reflecting the fading sun. She stops and looks at her reflection. Tired eyes, cracked lips, worn clothes. She touches her chest and whispers, "Maybe kindness is all I have left to give." The evening air grows cooler. A soft red glow covers the horizon, turning everything golden. The trees, the path, her face, it feels almost symbolic, as if nature itself is bowing to her silent sacrifice. Scene 8. Closing narration. That night, as Amma enters her small hut, the children rush to greet her. She smiles weakly, hiding her pain. She will tell them a story before bed, not about food or money, but about hope. Outside, the last rays of sunlight fade into darkness, leaving only the whisper of wind and the quiet beating of a mother's heart. And far away, down the same dusty path, the old man disappears beyond the hills, leaving behind the echo of his words. "May your kindness be remembered beyond this day." Soft music fades, symbolizing both loss and promise. The sun sinks beyond the horizon. The sky glows deep red, fading into violet as night approaches. Amma walks home slowly, her empty basket pressing against her side. The air is still. The sound of her bare feet brushing against the dirt road echoes in the quiet evening. Her heart feels like a stone, heavy, tired, but strangely peaceful. She gave her last meal away, and now she must face her children with nothing in her hands. The scent of cooking fires from nearby huts fills the air. It reminds her of what she doesn't have: food, comfort, certainty. She whispers softly to herself, "They will not understand. But one day, they will know why I did it." Scene 2. The Empty Hut. The sky darkens as Amma reaches her small mud hut. Her two children, Kofi and Essie, rush outside as soon as they see her. "Mama, did you sell everything?" Kofi asks, his eyes bright with hope. "Did you bring food?" Little Essie adds, her small hands clutching Amma's skirt. Amma freezes for a moment. She can't answer. Then she kneels, holding them close. "No, my children," she whispers softly. "Not today," their smiles fade. Silence fills the hut like smoke. Amma leads them inside, lighting a small oil lamp. The weak glow barely reaches the corners of the room. The air feels cold, empty, and full of unspoken questions. Kofi sits quietly, staring at the floor. Essie crawls into Amma's lap, her little stomach growling softly. "Mama," she murmurs, "my tummy hurts." Amma strokes her hair, her eyes filling with tears she refuses to shed. "I know, my love," she says gently. "Close your eyes. I'll tell you a story." Scene 3. The Story of Hope. Amma's voice trembles as she begins to speak. "Once upon a time, there was a bird," she says, "a bird with golden feathers who lived in a dry forest. One day the forest burned, and all the other birds flew away. But the golden bird stayed, because she couldn't leave her nest." Essie's eyelids grow heavy. Kofi listens quietly, his head resting against Amma's shoulder. "The bird cried and cried," Amma continues. "But then, one night, the sky opened and rain fell. Her tears had reached heaven, and heaven had listened." Her voice fades. The children fall asleep, their breaths slow and uneven. Amma watches them, her heart breaking. Scene 4. The Mother's Tears. When she is sure they are asleep, Amma steps outside. The moon hangs high above, pale and cold. She sits beside the empty cooking pot and stares at it. The pot that once held hope now holds nothing but ashes. Her hands tremble as she reaches inside and finds a single grain of rice stuck to the bottom. She presses it between her fingers, whispering, "Is this all that's left, Lord? One grain?" Tears finally spill down her cheeks. "I gave because I believed it was right. But now I have nothing left. No food, no strength, no answers." Her sobs echo through the still night. The wind brushes her face, almost as if trying to comfort her. She folds her hands and prays softly, "God, don't let my children suffer because of me. Please, show me that you are still here." Scene 5. The Dream. Amma finally lies down beside her children and closes her eyes. The world grows quiet, until she finds herself standing in a strange, glowing light. Before her stands the old man, the one she fed at the market. But now he looks different. His clothes shine white, and his eyes glow like stars. He holds a bowl in his hands, the same one she had given him, but it now glows like molten gold. His voice is calm, deep, and full of warmth. "Amma, kindness never leaves the hand that gives. It may seem gone, but it travels far. And when it returns, it brings more than you gave." Amma's lips part, but no words come out. She feels light, as if her pain is being lifted. The man smiles softly and says, "Your tears have been seen. Your faith has been heard." Then, as quickly as he appeared, the light fades, and Amma wakes up. Scene 6. The Morning of Emptiness. Morning arrives. The soft chirping of birds fills the air. The children are still asleep, curled close together. Amma sits up and looks around her small hut. The pot is still empty. The floor is still bare. Her heart aches again. For a moment, she wonders if the dream was just her tired mind playing tricks. She searches through her small basket. Nothing, not even a handful of flour. Her stomach growls, and she laughs bitterly. Even the body remembers hunger better than hope, she mutters. She stands and wraps a cloth around her shoulders. Then she walks toward the river, her feet dragging through the morning dust. Scene 7. The Prayer by the River. The river glistens in the early light, gentle ripples moving across its surface. Amma kneels by the water's edge. She cups her hands, letting the cold water wash her face. Her reflection stares back, tired, thin, but still alive. She whispers, "Lord, I have nothing left to give. But my faith, if that is enough, let it be enough." A small breeze moves across the water, stirring tiny ripples. For a brief second, it feels like the river answers her prayer with a quiet sigh. Amma closes her eyes. She feels peace, fragile but real. Then, she stands, straightens her shoulders, and walks back home, unaware that her greatest test has already opened the door to her miracle. Closing narration. Foreshadowing the miracle. Soft instrumental rises. Hopeful yet mysterious. Sometimes, the darkest night comes just before dawn, and when faith stands alone in the cold, the heavens prepare their answer in silence. Amma's tears may have fallen into the dust, but the earth itself has heard her cry. Fade to black. The faint sound of morning voices and distant footsteps hinting at what's coming next. Soft morning light creeps into the small hut. The air is still. A rooster crows in the distance. Amma opens her eyes slowly. The memories of last night flood back. Her tears, her dream, the old man in white. For a brief moment, she feels peace. But then, the familiar ache of hunger reminds her where she is. Her stomach growls quietly. She looks at her children, still sleeping, their faces thin and tired. Amma brushes a strand of hair from Isi's forehead and whispers, "I will find something today, my loves. I promise." She ties her worn scarf around her head, picks up her empty basket, and steps outside into the soft dawn light. Scene 2. A strange sight. The sky glows gold as Amma walks toward the small market square, but something feels different. As she approaches, people are gathered in small groups, whispering, pointing toward the edge of the market. Amma stops, her heart beating faster. At the center of the crowd stands a large wooden cart, and beside it, two men unloading sacks of grain, baskets of fruit, and jugs of oil. A woman from the crowd says, "They say a merchant sent all this food for someone named Amma." Amma freezes. Her lips part. For a moment, she wonders if she heard it wrong. Did you say Amma?" The woman nods, wide-eyed. "Yes." The message said it's for a woman named Amma, the one who gave food to an old stranger yesterday. A hush falls over the people around her. Slowly, every eye turns toward Amma. Her hands tremble. Her knees almost give way. "That can't be," she whispers. "There must be another Amma." But then, one of the men carrying the sacks steps forward and says, "Are you Amma from the east side of the village? The woman who sells food by the well?" Amma nods weakly. The man smiles kindly. "Then, this is yours." Scene 3. The message from the stranger. He hands her a sealed letter, folded neatly and tied with a red ribbon. Amma opens it with shaking fingers. Inside, written in elegant handwriting, are these words: "Dear Amma, your kindness reached a heart that had forgotten what goodness looked like. I was not a beggar, but a traveler, hidden among your people to see who still had compassion in a world of need. Your gift, given in hunger, was greater than gold. May these supplies feed your home and your village, as your love has fed my spirit. With gratitude, Kwaku Mensa, merchant of Accra. Amma stares at the letter, her eyes wide, tears gathering at the corners. The crowd erupts into murmurs. Some gasp, some smile. Others whisper in disbelief. The rich merchant? The one who owns the shipping stores by the coast? He came here, disguised as a beggar. Amma covers her mouth, unable to speak. The reality of it all crashes over her like a wave. The old man she had fed was no ordinary man. Scene 4. The village gathers. Within an hour, the small market fills with people. The men unload more sacks from the cart: rice, maize, oil, salt, and fabric. Amma stands beside it all, tears streaming down her face, her hands trembling as she touches the bags of food. This is too much," she whispers. "It's more than we could ever need." The village chief approaches her, his voice kind but amazed. "Amma, this is no accident. You have shown us what true giving means. You gave your last meal to a stranger, and heaven rewarded your heart." The crowd nods in agreement. Some of the women begin to clap softly. Then, one by one, others join, until the market fills with applause, cheers, and songs of joy. Essie and Kofi rush into their mother's arms, laughing, their eyes bright for the first time in months. "Mama, look, we have food, so much food." Amma kneels and hugs them tightly. "Yes, my loves," she says through tears. "The Lord never forgets kindness." Scene 5. Sharing the miracle. As the day passes, Amma doesn't keep the blessing to herself. Instead, she calls out to the villagers, "Come, everyone, take what you need. Let no one sleep hungry tonight." People stare, shocked by her generosity. "Amma, this is all yours," one woman says. "You could keep it for your family." But Amma shakes her head with a smile. "When you give, you receive more than food. You receive peace, and peace must be shared." So she divides the food among the villagers: children, widows, old men. Everyone who once pitied her now receives from her hands. The air fills with laughter and gratitude. Pots bubble again, fires burn with life. The village that was once silent with hunger is now alive with joy. Scene 6. The arrival of wealth. Weeks pass. The merchant's men return, bringing more supplies, clothes, money, and a written invitation. It reads, "Amma, your heart is needed in our city. Help us build a place where no one goes hungry." He offers her a position to oversee a community food house in the city, a job that comes with wealth, a new home, and security for her children. Amma stares at the letter, unable to believe what her life has become. From the woman who once cried by an empty pot, to the woman being honored for her kindness. That night, she prays again. But this time, her words are full of gratitude. "Lord, I asked for food, but you gave me purpose. I asked for mercy, but you gave me a miracle." Scene 7. The new beginning. Montage sequence. Narration over visuals. Amma and her children arrive in the bustling city of Accra. She walks through the new food center, rows of tables where the poor are fed daily. Her children play nearby, wearing clean clothes. Smiling, Amma's laughter fills the air, warm and free. The merchant greets her with respect and says, "You once fed me when I was hungry. Now you will help feed thousands." Amma bows her head humbly, her heart full. Closing narration. The moral. Soft instrumental builds. Emotional. inspiring. Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can shake the heavens. Amma gave her last meal, and in return, received more than she ever dreamed. But her true wealth was not in the food or the gold. It was in the love she shared, the hope she inspired, and the faith that never broke, even in the darkest night. The hand that gives, the narrator concludes softly, is the hand that never goes empty. Fade out, sunset over the city, Amma standing by the food house, smiling at the horizon. Gentle sunrise over the same village where Amma once lived. Children's laughter fills the air. The once crumbling huts now stand strong and painted in bright colors. The world has changed, and so has Amma's village. It is no longer a place of hunger and despair. It is a place of hope, laughter, and light. At the center of the village stands a large house painted in warm yellow, its doors always open. Over the doorway, a wooden sign reads, "The House of Kindness." Inside, women cook steaming pots of stew, while children eat and sing. And though Amma is older now, her smile is the same, gentle, humble, and full of love. She moves slowly these days, her hands a little shaky, her hair silver with time, but her spirit, strong and bright, fills every corner of the home she built. Scene 2. The Legacy of Love. Amma's life became a story that traveled far beyond her village. Traders spoke her name in distant markets. Priests told her story in sermons, and travelers carried her tale to every town. The tale of the widow who fed the stranger. Her once empty pot became a symbol of faith. People would come to see it. The same clay pot that once held her last meal. It now sat on a small table near her window, shining in the sunlight like a treasure. Children often asked her, "Mama Amma, why do you keep that old pot?" She would smile softly and reply, "Because it reminds me that even when we have nothing, we still have something to give." Scene 3. The charity in her husband's name. Years after her miracle, Amma built a small charity center in memory of her late husband, Kofi Mensa. She named it The Hands That Feed. Every day, women from nearby villages brought food to share. Widows cooked for orphans, and farmers donated a part of their harvest. No one left empty-handed. The villagers often said, "Amma turned her pain into purpose." And truly, she did. Where she once cried in hunger, now others smiled in abundance. Scene 4. The Final Encounter. Evening falls. The sky glows orange and purple. Amma sits alone under the great baobab tree, the same spot where her husband once sat with her years ago. The cool wind brushes her face. She closes her eyes and whispers a prayer of gratitude. Suddenly, a soft breeze passes through the tree, and a glowing butterfly flutters down. Landing gently on her hand, Amma smiles faintly, her eyes glistening. "You again," she whispers, for in her heart she knows. This butterfly is a sign, a gentle reminder from the man she once helped, a symbol of the kindness that started it all. She lifts her eyes to the sky and says softly, "I kept my promise. I shared what you gave me. I did not let kindness die." The butterfly flutters away, rising higher and higher until it disappears into the fading light. Scene 5. The torch passes on. Amma's children, Isi and Kofi Jr., have grown now, strong, kind, and wise. They carry her mission forward, running the charity with the same compassion their mother taught them. Every evening, they gather the village children and tell them her story. And when the little ones ask, "Is it true that one meal changed everything?" they nod and say, "Yes, one meal, given with love, can change the world. Scene 6. The Statue of the Widow. Years later, when Amma passes peacefully in her sleep, the whole village mourns. They build a statue in her honor, right in the center of the market where she once sold roasted corn. But it is not a statue of wealth or power. It is a simple sculpture of a woman kneeling, holding out a bowl of food to a stranger. At the base of the statue, carved in bold letters, are her words: "A single act of kindness can feed generations." Final narration, the eternal message. Soft music rises. The camera pans over the busy market filled with life, laughter, and color. Narrator, gentle, emotional. Amma's story reminds us that kindness never fades. It grows, it spreads, and it lives beyond the giver. She gave her last meal, and the world gave her back a legacy. So when you find yourself with little, remember Amma, the widow who believed that even an empty pot can overflow with grace. The camera slowly pans upward. The golden sunset reflects on the statue's face. The village hums with life, echoing laughter and hope. The hand that gives, the voice concludes softly, is the hand that never goes empty. Fade out, title appears, inspired by true African tales of kindness and faith.